In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Mandalorian's N-1 Starfighter. Hello Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Mandalorian's N-1 Starfighter from The Mandalorian. But also, as we know, it appeared in the Book of Boba Fett. In fact, that's where it first appeared, I'm pretty sure. So, let's take a look at the packaging, and if you happen to enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a like down below and subscribe if you are new. Let's get Bossk out of the way, and we're also going to need R5 a bit later on as well. So here's the box with the classic vintage collection style packaging with the racetrack design that goes all the way around, and we've got the Mandalorian logo there. We've got the Kenner logo at the bottom. In the bottom left hand corner, you get to see exactly what is included in the box, which is the flight stand, the ship itself. We have the Mando, we have a little Grogu as well, and all of the accessories that come with the ship, which we're going to get into obviously when we open it. The image on the box itself is of the toy with the Mandalorian. You can see Grogu in the little bubble thing on the back, and yeah, it's a decent enough image there. Looks pretty cool to me. It's going to be exactly the same on the back. Exactly the same, except for we have the Vintage Collection logo in the top right hand corner, and of course we are getting a carded figure in here. It is the Mandalorian, the Season 3 version, stroke Book of Boba Fett version, basically. I'm hoping that he's going to be exactly the same as the one that came in the rescue set, and then I don't have to open that one, because I do have the one from the rescue set. Top of the box there, not too much going on. You can see Mando there working on one of the engines with Grogu. One end of the box we have some more images. You've got Mando in the cockpit there, and another one of Mando repairing the engine. And at the opposite end of the box you've got another couple of images there. You've got Mando carrying like that sort of turbo unit, which is going to be fixed onto the front of the ship. And there you can also see R5, which is why I need my R5 figure, because we need the head, because that piece does interchange. Okay then, so that's the packaging, the classic Vintage Collection packaging. It looks awesome. If you're an inbox collector, you're not going to be disappointed. I'm going to be opening this up now, checking out the pieces inside and building it on camera, and then we're going to review the ship. Straight away, as soon as I open the box, we have the instruction leaflet here of how to put the ship together. It's double-sided, and it's in that classic sort of Kenner style that we got back in the late 70s and early 80s. And if you are watching this wondering where I managed to pick this up from, I got this from In Demand Toys in the UK. They often get import stock, and this was the case with this. Basically, they got them in stock yesterday and it arrived today in the post, which is awesome. So thanks to the guys over at In Demand Toys for a speedy delivery. And in case you're wondering, this is how it's packaged within the box. So it's all nicely packaged away, and we can see the carded Mandalorian figure now, which we will just take away. It's been put in some tissue paper to protect it, which is good. Hopefully my bubble is intact. Let's take a look. That looks pretty minty to me, and it is unpunched as well. Back of the card, VC 292. Pretty sure that we're already aware of what number he was, and then there's some of the other figures that you can get in the line on the back there. But it's a beautiful card back, this one. You've got the Mando there in the cockpit with Grogu just sticking up in that pod thing at the back of him. The Mandalorian, and it's got N-1 Starfighter in the brackets. So there's no issue with knowing which vehicle or playset that this came with. So let's take a look at the figure in the bubble there. I'm looking at his pads around his legs and the colours of them, and to me this looks pretty much exactly the same figure that you get in the rescue set. You even get the spear, you get a dark saber as well. He's got his soft goods cape, and I think the only difference here really is that little knife there. I don't think you got that in the rescue set. I'll have to double check, but I don't think you did. But because the figure is exactly the same as the one in the rescue set, he's got the rocker ankles. I have no reason to open this whatsoever, and the card looks to be in really good condition. If the card wasn't in great condition, then I would have been opening this one no problem at all, but because it's in really good condition, I'm going to keep it as it is. And for anyone that hasn't seen this figure before, then I will leave a link in the description below to my rescue set review, where I review all of the figures that came with that set, this being one of them. To me, it looks identical to the one that you get with the N1. It is based on his Season 2 stroke Book of Boba Fett appearance. He's got his blue sort of armor pieces and pouches and stuff on his legs there. Really, really good Mando. This is the best Mando that we have to date, basically, in terms of his Beskar armor and in terms of articulation and all that good stuff. this is the best that we've got so far, and he looks awesome. As I say, if you want to check out more about this figure, then watch my rescue set review. Alright then, so here are all the pieces out of the box laid out in front of you, including the stand, which looks absolutely awesome. It's got the Mandalorian logo on there, which I think the Razor Crest one did as well, if I'm not mistaken, so that'll match quite nicely as well, but it looks pretty awesome. So now I'm going to go ahead and build this based on the instructions. Okay then, so here is the Mandalorian's N-1 Starfighter, all built, followed the instructions, really easy, nothing too complicated there at the end of the day. And first impressions of it are that it looks pretty awesome. It looks screen accurate. I'm enjoying it. It's got bags of features, which I will go through in a moment. The only negative that I would say about it is that it could have done with a little bit more weathering on it, but I do realise that it's supposed to be like quite chromy. You can see on the front here that they have actually painted this part chrome, which looks really, really nice. But the rest of the ship is this quite basic grey plastic, which in my opinion could have done with some weathering on it just a little bit. It looks a little bit plasticky in certain areas, but I realise it's a toy. It's made of plastic, of course it does. But, you know, if you wanted to get it 100% screen accurate, I think they could have done a bit more weathering on here in the engine parts just to bring out some of the detail. But apart from that, I think it looks great. It does shine in the lights and everything. It is a sort of chromed ship in the show. As we know, it's a modified Naboo Starfighter. I think it looks awesome. And let's just take a look at some of the features. Okay then, so let's talk about the features of the vehicle, and there are many, and we're going to concentrate on the cockpit area first of all, because that's where I feel there are the most features or play features. And first of all, we do have a working sliding cockpit, very much like the 2012 version of the N-1 Starfighter, or the Naboo Starfighter as it is called back then. And obviously you're not going to get Mando or a figure in there without some difficulty, so this whole area does pop up in a second. I'll show you that, but I just wanted to show you that. That's pretty cool. So you can have Mando waving out of the cockpit, which is pretty awesome. As I say, the whole thing does lift off like this, so it lifts up, and then obviously you can get your figure in there really easily, which we'll do in a second. But what I thought was the ingenious part of this is this area here. If I can just get some light in there. That area there is used to store the spear, the Darksaber, and Mando's jetpack as well, which is pretty cool, you know, because you're always going to lose those accessories when he's not able to have them in the cockpit. So storing them there just under where Grogu sits is a pretty cool feature. So there you go, you can see there that I've put in the spear, which is underneath the Mando jetpack, and that fits very snugly indeed. And then of course all you need to do then is just pop that back down. I've got a bit of a clicking thing there on the hinge, which I'll have to look at in a second, but that looks pretty awesome. I'm liking the fact that you can keep all of those accessories stored away so you're not going to lose them. And there we have the Mando figure inside the cockpit, just to sort of demonstrate how that works. And you know, that looks pretty cool like that, doesn't it? And now I'm going to go handheld with the camera just so I can show you inside that cockpit. There is a few little bits of detail. Okay then, so there you are. You can see inside the cockpit there, and you can really see the jetpack stored away in the back. And there is Mando in the cockpit. You've got a few little dials on the front there, not too much other paintwork in there. This is what I mean about it's missing some details really. I think they could have perhaps, you know, provided a few more paint apps on it, but you know, it's a minor thing really. It's inside the cockpit. You're not going to be looking in there too often. And you can also see the two joysticks there, the steering joysticks, which the figure, I'm guessing, can hold in his tiny little hands if you can be bothered to do that. So just carrying on with handheld, just to show you some of the details close up, you can see that we have Grogu in the back there in that dome, and that is an exclusive Grogu to this vehicle. He has the little joystick in his hand. I'm pretty sure that it is exclusive. Now moving on down, we're going to take a look at one of the engines here. So this piece here is removable, and I believe that this piece can fit onto either of the wings, which is good. So you can decide which one you want sort of open or closed, and decide which one you want Mando fixing if you want like a diorama. And if we just move across here, you can see some of those yellow flashes of paintwork on the ship, just like they are in the show. We've got the front cannons here, and then this like spoiler engine turbo type thing, which is removable. So that comes off, so you could like, you know, do a mini diorama of them installing that onto the ship if you wanted to. That just clicks in as well. Here's the underside of the N-1. Not too much detail there at all, but you can see that it's on that stand. This is the second stand. So this one is to have it in parked mode in the garage, getting fixed up, just sitting there parked basically. The other stand is to have it in flight mode, which we will attach in a second so you can see that. There's that center engine there, or thruster or whatever. And then there's the tail of the ship. As I say, on the underside of the ship, there really isn't too much detail. Okay, so back to the front of the ship once again, just to give you some idea of some of the details that they have included on it. You can see those scuff marks on the front there. As I say, this part of the ship has been painted in chrome. The rest of it is like a, I don't know, like a gunmetal grey colour, I guess. But yeah, just to give you some of that detail there. As I say, you know, we have had vintage collection vehicles before that have been painted better in terms of the level of detail. I always go back to the assault tank, which was really, really well painted. Lots of weathering on there, lots of detail. I'm not saying that this ship's bad necessarily. I just think it could have done with slightly more weathering than it has been given, but it is still pretty awesome. Another feature of the ship is that the tail does remove, and I'm guessing the reason for that was so they could actually package it in the box. But also they've made use of that. They've actually put this little piece in here, which I'm just going to tip out now. And this is one of those like rod type things that you can see in the trash compactor that Leia sort of grabs hold of to, you know, wedge the trash compactor walls. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, when they were building or customizing the Naboo Starfighter in the Book of Boba Fett, they asked the Jawas for one of these and they had to go off and get it. And this is the piece, I believe. And that just gets stored away in there. So it doesn't really do anything. It's literally there for, you know, play features, diorama. You could maybe have like a Jawa carrying it in or whatever. And the tail just fits on nicely on the back there again. But really, really cool ship. It looks awesome. And my favourite part, it really is that obviously this setup here is pretty much from how it looks in the Book of Boba Fett, I feel, with the dome there for the Grogu figure. But they have enabled you to change that up. So you get this piece here, which is going to fit the R5-D4's Build-A-Droid head. So we'll just take that off like so. You have that peg there, and that's going to go in like so, which will then turn. And then we'll take the little dome off Grogu. We'll take Grogu out with the foot peg. And then this piece here is literally just going to pop out very, very easily. And you know which way it's going to go in because it's got this cutout groove there. So that just goes like so. And then you've got the N-1 Starfighter from the Mandalorian Season 3. I'm pretty sure that R5-D4 wasn't seen like this in the N-1 in the Book of Boba Fett. They definitely did that in the Mandalorian Season 3 when he goes back to visit Peli Motto. He hasn't got a droid, he needs a new droid, and she sells him R5. And there he is in the back. And obviously Hasbro are reissuing this R5-D4 on a Mandalorian card back, as you know. So anybody that doesn't have one of those will be able to get one, hopefully in the not too distant future. So then you'll all be able to display your N-1 Starfighters with R5 in the back, which I love. That's my personal favourite, how I like the N-1. It looks pretty cool like that. And very quickly, here is the Grogu that you get with the N-1 Starfighter. As I mentioned before, I'm pretty certain that this is an exclusive version to this vehicle. It seems that we've got lots of exclusive versions of Grogu. Too many, probably, in actual fact. We've got all of those ones from all those deluxe packs. There's just too many Grogus, basically. I've got enough Grogus now, Hasbro. Thank you so much. But the only real difference with this one is that he's got his ears down with the ball in his hand, basically. That little joystick thing. So, pretty cool to have with the N-1. And I think finally we'll just demonstrate the flight stand. So, we'll just take this one off. It's on one of those little sort of balls there. And this one has one of those as well. And then we'll just place that on if I can. Like so. And then you can lean it in different ways, which is really, really good. I love these flight stands, the way they do that. You can have it leaning down or leaning up, flying up into space, or coming back down. You can have it straight on if you like, whichever way you want it. I think that's a pretty cool feature. And as I say, that stand with the Mandalorian logo on there, I think that's really, really nice that they've done that and included it within the set. And before I end the video, I just wanted to show you the instructions once more, because it does actually tell you exactly where to put all of the accessories underneath the R5 or Grogu in the cockpit area, basically. So you can get his rifle, his long rifle, you can get the spear, you can get the Darksaber and his knife and his jetpack. All 5 accessories fit in there, which is awesome. I think that's a really, really good feature. Considering you don't get his long rifle with this figure that you get with the N1, you only get the Darksaber and the spear and the knife and his small pistol. You do not get his long rifle. You did get his pistol, but obviously that can be holstered while he's in the ship, so you don't need to store that one. But if you've got another one of these figures, which most of you have, that came with the long rifle, that will also fit in there as well, which is a really, really good feature, and they've really thought about that. So hats off to Hasbro for actually thinking about that. Okay then, so one more time, we'll just quickly go over the ship handheld so you can see some of the details as we go through. There's Mando, the R5, the tail of the ship on its flight stand, looking pretty awesome. Alright then guys, that's about it for this video. This is the Vintage Collection N1 Starfighter. Overall, I'm really, really happy with it. It's going to look great on display, especially on the flight stand. And also, if you want it on that parked stand, that will be good for sort of dioramas, having him fix up the ship. The only problem with that is that we don't have a Peli Motto figure, which we kind of need for that scene with the pit droids and things like that. But apart from that, I can't complain. It looks pretty decent, and I'm really happy to have it in my collection. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks to my Patreon supporters and channel members. And we shall see you on the next one.